Well, I thought I could maybe beat the weather. As you can tell, that didn't quite work out the way I had it planned. I was going to do some things in the yard today. My buddy Pete and I were talking about building the chicken coop this week, but I got to teach tomorrow, and I don't think that's going to work out either. And now the wood is all wet because I didn't get it under a tarp first, and so that's not going to happen. So I thought, what the heck, I'll do some other things. I got some targets I can paint up before we get out to Yuma again to shoot, and they've been dinged pretty good, so we got to get them painted up. And hopefully I can do that and the paint will actually dry. I don't know, it's pretty cold outside, so I might not do that either. I might just go in the house and get a cup of coffee and stay out of the cold. Well, I guess we'll have to see. Hey, one thing I wanted to mention to you though, first of all, it's been kind of a reality in life that, particularly in our country in the last year, 2020 was very interesting, but it's been this way for a while, and that is that people have forgotten how to be polite, they've forgotten how to be kind, they've forgotten how to be generous. For crying out loud, they've forgotten how to talk to each other because they're all on their phone all the time. And I think a lot of folks have forgotten how to do. They watch a lot, but they don't do very much. And I've always been one of those guys driven to do. I mean, I go nuts if the end of the day comes and I haven't really done anything productive, unless I'm sick. If I'm sick, I'm sick. But otherwise, I got to be doing something. That's why I'm out here. And instead, I'm probably going to do some things in the garage or whatever, or I'll work on the websites or what have you. So I feel like I got to do something productive, even though I'm semi-retired, so go figure. I think that's why I say I'm semi-retired. I notice this a lot when I'm hiking, because I hike a lot. I also notice it when I'm at a doctor's office or whatever. People are sitting next to each other, they got their phones, and everybody ignores everybody. And then the other day, Pete was showing me a picture. He was traveling. He showed me a picture of a couple who had traveled to go on vacation with each other, and they were sitting at dinner across the table, ignoring each other, looking at their phones. And I thought, oh my gosh, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. In fact, it's on Do Not Disturb kind of all the time, and I just have my favorites that can actually ring through. Because that way, if I'm spending time with my wife or my kids or with a friend, I'm not disturbed unless it's something that's important. I'm not going to interrupt my conversation with them or my time with them to answer a text or answer a phone call or whatever, unless it's vital. And what you find, honestly, is that very few things in life are vital. It's just everybody has an expectation that they're going to get an instant response. But anyway, back to hiking. When I'm hiking, what I've noticed is that I'll say good morning to people, because I generally hike in the morning, and I hike in places where other people hike, and so I see people a lot, and I'll say good morning, ma'am, good morning, sir, whatever. And I would say the vast majority don't respond. Now, some of them, to be fair here, some of them don't respond because they've got earbuds in or whatever, and they're listening to the music, and they don't hear me. So that's fair. I mean, they're kind of in their own world. Others just don't respond because they just don't want to. They'll stare straight ahead and sort of pretend I'm not there, or they'll respond in sort of a grumpy kind of half sort of good morning kind of response, But periodically, some few will respond very enthusiastically because somebody actually said good morning. And in today's world, we don't do that. I notice it like when I go to Costco or shopping or whatever, people just run right into you. They don't pay attention to their surroundings. And if they do bump into you, they don't bother to say excuse me or pardon me or gee, I'm sorry or whatever. They just bump into you and then give you a kind of an evil look, and then they go on. And that's why I say I think we've forgotten how to be polite. The other day, I was hiking, actually it was yesterday, I was hiking up Cowles Mountain, which I like to do. And it was cold, man. I mean, cold for me as a Californian. I think it was 48 degrees when I started. So if you're from a part of the country where that's not cold, you can chime in and tell me what a wimp I am if you want. But it was pretty cold. And so as a result, there were few people, or I should say fewer people, going up and down the mountain, quite a bit fewer. And I said good morning and Merry Christmas to people all the way up and all the way down. And not a single person said Merry Christmas back, not one. And they all kind of ignored me except a couple, maybe two or three, and they sort of gave me the grudging good morning. And then I was coming around a corner, you got switchbacks, right? And just before I got to the corner, I had said to the Lord, help me out here. I'm trying to be polite and I'm trying to be encouraging, And nobody seems to be interested, so give me somebody that'll say Merry Christmas back. And just about then, a young couple, maybe in their early 30s, came around the corner, and I said, good morning, Merry Christmas. And they just looked up like that, you know, the big smile on their faces, and they looked back at me so enthusiastically, and they said, Merry Christmas, good morning, because they were just taken aback that somebody had actually said good morning and wished them Merry Christmas. And so right then and there, I changed the world, which was pretty cool. I changed the world. I at least changed the world around me. I made an impact on somebody, and they were encouraged, and that encouraged me. And so that sort of changed the world a little bit in my perspective. Because I'm, you know, like you, I'm a normal person. You can see this is my backyard, right? I mean, it's a normal backyard. We live in a normal neighborhood. And we don't, you know, we're not world leaders or whatever, and we're not movers and shakers among the elite. And so I can't change the world personally, the whole world. But what I can do is I can impact the people around me, I can impact my family, and I can impact other people. So the title of this video I put in here is My Secret Weapon, because I want you to understand, you know, yeah, I carry a gun every day, and I carry a knife every day, and I train with a knife, and I train with a gun, and I train other people with those things, or at least I used to before I retired. And I talk about rifles and shotguns and other weapons on my channel all the time, but the truth is, a secret weapon is just kindness. The secret weapon, the one that's the most powerful, is just generosity and being polite. You know, I think if we got to the point where we could use those more, maybe we wouldn't need the other ones so much. And I'm not naive about it. I realize a lot of folks are not going to respond to that favorably. They're just not. They're focused on themselves. They got their own, you know, they got this going on, revolves around them, or they're grumpy, or they're angry, or they're mean, or whatever. But somebody will respond. Well, that's what I found, because right after that couple responded to me, and again, this is an answer of prayer. I prayed, and there they were. After that, pretty much everybody responded good morning. And I would say not the majority, but half, going the rest of the way up the mountain, all the way back down, seemed to be overjoyed that I wished them Merry Christmas. They'd look up and say, Merry Christmas to you too, Merry Christmas. And they'd keep on going. You know, I share this with you because, honestly, our world is a mess, and our country's kind of a mess, and we've forgotten the basic proprieties of kindness, generosity, and just having good manners. Nobody's got manners anymore. What are manners? I mean, right? Who says good morning? Who says good evening? Who says thank you? Who says, who calls someone ma'am or sir or miss? Nobody. I do. But unless you're in the military, you're not trained to do that. And then a lot of people just don't do it. And it's not an age group thing. It's not like only the young people or the millennials. We like to pick on them. It's everybody. I mean, everybody's into their own thing. And I think, honestly, COVID has made it worse. It's isolated people. And then, truthfully, these things, without, I don't want to get on a soapbox here, but these things have isolated people too, because everybody's, looking at their screen and they're not paying attention to one another. And we lose human interaction that way, and relationships are destroyed that way. And that's where we start to devalue one another. And if we devalue one another, then human life has less value. Then the other person's life has less value. And that's where weapons become even more important, and people start stockpiling ammunition and weapons and that kind of stuff, because they see their neighbors not as friends or people that will help or people that they might help, but as potential enemies. And it's terrible that we've gotten to that point. And again, I'm not trying to preach here, but I was reading in the book of James this morning in my quiet time. And one of the things that really struck me, I love the book of James because it's extremely practical. James was a very practical guy. He taught very practically about how to live life. And he taught that faith without deeds is dead, because your faith should drive you to action, drive you to do things that are godly, drive you to live a godly life. And one thing he said was that we should be about doing, not just hearing. That somebody who just hears the Word of God and doesn't do anything with it. It's like somebody who looks at themselves in the mirror and studies themselves very carefully and then walks away and forgets what they look like. I've thought about that a lot this morning, and I realized that part of doing is not only trying to live a life, in my case as a Christian, as a follower of Christ, but also try to impact others with my life. And one way we can do that is through generosity, through kindness, through patience, through perseverance, just through having good manners. And for being generous, not just with our money and our things, but generous with our attention and our time. Taking this thing and setting it over here. Controlling the device. I tell people, I put this thing on Do Not Disturb, because if I don't manage the device, it will manage me. And that's true. So managing the device so that we can interact with each other as people, because the truth is, people are important. I don't necessarily like all people. In fact, I probably don't really like most of them. I'm not a person who's a people person. Not that I dislike people. I'm just not a people person by nature. And I find that a lot of people are pretty stupid. But that doesn't mean that they're not important, and that doesn't mean that they don't have value, and that doesn't mean that their life and their experience and their troubles and tribulations and their good times are not valuable, because they are. And we can share those with one another if we go to the trouble to just connect. So in this holiday season and beyond, not just the holiday season, as I'm standing out here and it's getting rainier, it's getting cold too. In this holiday season and beyond, not just in the holidays, not just around Christmas time, I urge you to be kind to one another. Be kind. Let's be kind to one another. Let's be polite. I mean, open the door for someone at the store or the coffee shop or the Starbucks or wherever it is you go. And I know somebody will completely miss the entire message here, and they'll type in there, Starbucks is anti-gun. Look, calm down. I know I hate to say calm down because people get mad. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not telling you what to do as much as I'm just trying to help you see there's more important things to life than the fact that Starbucks doesn't like guns. It is anti-Second Amendment. And one of those more important things is your spouse, your children, if you've got them, your family, if you've got them, your friends, and your neighbors, the people next to you. You know, my wife and I know all of our neighbors. And we have a big old avocado tree you might be able to see over there, and we've got clementine tree and a apricot tree and some others. And we have a garden, and we share what we grow with our neighbors. And oftentimes they share things with us. You know, the little kids across the street come over and bring us cookies when they bake cookies with their mom. And that's part of just knowing your neighbors. And that's in California, where people don't do that. But when we first moved in here, we made an effort to go knock on all the doors of our neighbors and introduce ourselves. And we've made an effort to build relationships, at least as acquaintances and neighbors, if not friends. Sorry about that. The camera disconnected from my phone when I picked it up, so I got to start all over again. But the point is that what I was talking about, I think, is that we really need to connect with each other. Lives are important, and people are important. And this is a great season to kind of start doing that, because it's a holiday season. Hopefully people are feeling good about it. Maybe not. But anyway, give it a try. That's my suggestion to you. Give it a try. Let's try to be kind to one another, generous with our time, and generous also with our thoughts. And if we're people of faith, generous with our prayers. You know, if you say good morning to somebody or Merry Christmas to somebody, they give you that curmudgeon look, or they give you some grumpy response, you know what you can do? You can always pray for them. You can always pray for them. There's something people say all the time, well, at least we can pray for them. No. I'm going to say this. The most powerful thing you can do for somebody is involve God. The most amazing thing that you can accomplish for anyone is to pray for them. The most you can do is pray for them, not the least. And so it's something we should always include. And pray for people who are having a tough time. Pray for people whose attitudes are terrible. Because sometimes mine are terrible, and I hope people will pray for me. Anyway, I'm preaching here. I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know. Maybe I did, but I didn't think I did. I was just out here in the cold, and now I'm getting cold, so I think I'm going to go inside, make myself a hot cup of coffee, and sit down at the computer and do something in there. Maybe I'll get out in the garage a little later on. Have a wonderful day. Have a very Merry Christmas, and know that I appreciate you tremendously, and that you are very valuable to me. So, and you're very valuable to God, and if you ever don't think so, just let me know, and I'll straighten you out. Take care. Merry Christmas. Be safe.